Today, I'm going to dive into one of the most hotly debated topics in the Spanish language, and it has to do with these two fruits, the lime and the lemon. One would think that even though there are so many different Spanish-speaking countries in the world, that the names of these fruits would be agreed upon, but it turns out they're not. They are really, really not. As an English speaker trying to learn Spanish, this might just be one of the most important items to get right. Before I get into it, let me just be clear about what fruits I am talking about. First off, the lemon. The lemon is a yellow citrus fruit from the citrus limon tree and has a zesty, sour taste. The lime is a green, round citrus fruit with a sour, acidic taste. Both are commonly used for cooking and mixed drinks. It's important to clarify the exact nature of these two fruits at the start because, particularly with the lime, in some areas, there's a little more confusion. In English, pretty straightforward, lemon, lime. I first encountered the confusing nature of these two fruits in Spanish when I was in a Mexican restaurant with a Mexican coworker, and he asked the waitress for más limón for his tacos. I thought that was strange right away. If you go to Google Translate, lemon is limón and lime is lima. And thus, the great lime and lemon contradiction in the Spanish language is born. It turns out there's no consensus in the Spanish-speaking world for the translation of lemon and lime. It varies by region. So, I did an even deeper dive in the internet, Reddit, YouTube, etc. to try to cover as many different Spanish-speaking countries as possible. Let's start with the Google Translate translation. According to Google Translate, the lemon is a limón and the lime is lima. This actually works great. For an English speaker, it makes sense. Lima sounds like lime and limon sounds like lemon. It's great. This is because this translation makes the words cognates. A cognate is a word that has the same linguistic origin and shares a common ancestor with a word in another language. When you're learning a new language, cognates are your friend. Where it gets confusing is when you go to the other translation, which is exactly the opposite, like I experienced in the Mexican restaurant, where they refer to the lime as limón. In this case, the words are no longer cognates, they are actually something called false friends. False friends are pairs of words in two different languages that look or sound similar but have different meanings. An example of a false friend in Spanish and in English is the word embarazada. Embarazada sounds like the English word embarrassed, but embarazada means pregnant, not embarrassed. So these are false friends. In the cases where limón refers to the lime, now that is a false friend with the English word lime. Lima and lime sound similar, but do not have the same meaning. Opposite to what we have in English. And also, confusingly enough, opposite to what we have in Google Translate. So why is there this contradiction? It often comes down to the popularity of these fruits. In many cases, only one of these fruits is popular in a given region. In areas where lemons are rare and limes are common, limón usually means lime. In these regions, they might just say limón amarillo, adding the color yellow after the word limón to make the distinction. Conversely, in regions where the lemon is more common and limes are more rare, limón means lemon, and to refer to the lime, they might say limón verde, green lemon. Let's break this down by region. Joining Spain in the Google Translate English cognate category, we have Uruguay and Argentina, where the lemon is limón and the lime is lima. Joining Mexico in the opposite category, we have Venezuela, which also refers to the lime as limón and the lemon as lima. One more thing I wanted to briefly touch on, which I mentioned earlier, is that the word lima gets a little confusing in Mexico. It turns out they actually have a totally different fruit that they call lima. In Mexico, lima refers to a sweet, large, yellow citrus fruit that is similar to what English speakers call a lemon. As you can see here, this is actually a different fruit. But of course, there's the third category of countries that refer to both fruits as limón and use the color to distinguish limón verde and limón amarillo. And some of the countries in this category are the Dominican Republic and Cuba. So what is the moral of the story? Is it that English speakers are screwed and will never figure this out learning Spanish? Not necessarily. I think there might be two different approaches you can take. One would be to try to use the terminology used in the region that you are in. If you are visiting Spain or Argentina, perhaps it is easiest to adopt their translation of these words, and especially as an English speaker, these naturally make sense to you. And conversely, if you're in Mexico, maybe it's best to use their translation, even though it's opposite for you. And then finally, there is the third approach, which might just be the most effective, which is just to call them both limon and make the distinction by adding the color afterwards. That way, at the very least, when you say the color, the person you're talking to will know what fruit you are referring to. If you are a Spanish speaker in the comments, I'd be curious to hear where you are from and how you call these fruits in your country. But after all this confusion, don't let that distract you from the fact that these are just two great, wonderful fruits that can be used in so many different dishes, drinks, etc. You shouldn't worry too much about what to call them and just enjoy them.